and welcome to Wisp Sports Radio's Athlete Profile Show. I'm Chris Stafford, and my guest is Jamaican-born Deta Hedman, who's been a leading darts player for more than 40 years, with over 100 rankings titles to her name, making her legendary in the sport. Some of her most prestigious titles include the World Masters, the Europe Cup, Las Vegas Desert Classic, and Dunedin Masters. But it's the World Championship crown which has eluded her and remains top of her bucket list. With tournaments both at home in England and abroad every weekend, Deta stays as focused and motivated as ever, whether she's representing her Oxford club or England. She tells us how her family moved to England when she was just a teenager and how, despite darts being a male-dominated sport, she's made her mark. She's always enjoyed playing the men, she says, but when she beats them, they're reluctant to admit they were beaten by a woman, even though she's one of the best players in the world. Deta joins me now from Walsall in the middle of England, where she's playing a tournament. Deta, welcome to the programme.
Hello, thank you for asking me.
This is a county tournament that you're there for. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I play for Oxford, and we're in Division 1, and for 9 months of the year, we go to different parts of England and play A and B team. We play the B team on the Saturday and I play in the A team on the Sunday.
This is something, of course, you've been doing for many, many years. I don't know if we need to reveal your age, except that you're north of 50, Deta, and you've been number 1 in the world for, 10 years? You're number 2 now, British number 1. This is an incredible record. Let's go back a little bit to where you came from, because you came from the Caribbean when you were still a child.
Yes, I came from Jamaica when I was nearly 14. I came to England the 31st of January 1973. And I remember arriving where I still live now for 43 years, that I saw snow for the first time, and it was like, oh my God, because we don't get things like snow in Jamaica. So it was really quite exciting as a young child coming to England.
What was the reason for coming to England? What were your parents, what was their journey that they wanted to take their family to England at that point?
Well, back then, when they were looking for workers in like America as well as Great Britain, my dad came first, and then my mum was there with 6 children, because I have 5 brothers, 1 sister, 1 was born in England. And then my mum came, and the 6 children was left with one of her sister, and then we all kind of came individually once you were kind of old enough to still go to school, and then the last 3 came, and that's how it was.
Well, an amazing journey, of course, as you say, looking for work and new opportunities with a young and large family too. And this gave you the opportunity to really establish your education, I'm sure, and decide how your life was to unfold. But I want to know, first of all, how and why darts was so significant at such an early age. Was it that your father played, your mother played? How did it come into your life?
Because my 2 eldest brothers were already in England, and my sister, but my 2 brothers, because back then where we lived, you had lots of pubs, because that was the norm. So when I arrived, my brother had a dartboard up in his house. So I used to babysit for him, and then when he came back, we would have a game of 3 or 1, double in, double out. And that's where I got my practice from, and I would never leave to go home until I won a game. And it was just a bug. I just got addicted to playing. And every time I come home from school, do my homework, I would have a game of darts with my brother. And that's how it all started, really, until I was old enough to go to the pub, and then the rest is history, really.
It takes me back to the days when we'd go to a pub as teenagers and we'd have a game of darts, a lager and lime and a packet of crisps those days.
Yes, and a game of pool.
So what was the addiction at that very early stage when you were very young that it just hooked you?
I was just a determined person, and I just wanted to win. And I just had to win one. And I would never give up until I win. And it's like everything I do, I had to never give up until I achieve one of it, regardless what it is. And I will just keep going until I win a tournament. And I still do now.
Do you need any coaching when you're young, getting into competition like so many other sports? You need some form of coaching. Did you have any help then, or was it just practice, practice, practice?
It was just practice, and my father taught me the mathematics of taking away 501 because it's the difference between winning the game and losing the game by knowing how to finish. So they helped me when I have a certain number left on the board. It doesn't always work, but in the correct way. And so that you can finish before the other player. Obviously, you've got to get the score first.
So you had to figure it out pretty quickly, what you needed, right, to finish the game out.
Just keep practicing, and you can get all the sheets that show you how to do the finishes. And that's what I did. I just kept practicing all the finishes until it just become second nature. I still do now because they bring out new ways of doing things. So I kind of trying to adapt. It's giving yourself the chance to win each time you get on that board.
What do you think has been the motivation that sustained you? Is it still the will to win or to break records or to continue to keep the younger generation at bay?
It's everything, actually. I still love to set records and I still enjoy playing. And obviously, forgetting that I also work for a living as well. To be fair, darts is a hobby that I say to everyone, it's a hobby that I happen to be good at, that I thoroughly enjoyed. But I have got a full-time job as well. It may sound silly.
In the Royal Mail, which you've been doing now for how many years?
This is my 20th year. I'm fortunate because I don't work weekends. I only work during the week. And my hours is Monday to Thursday. So it's one of the shifts. So I was fortunate to be doing one of those shifts. So in a sense, I don't really knock on Royal Mail in taking any time off. Everything is my time, if you know what I mean. So because I don't work weekends and most of the darts are all weekends. So it doesn't deter me from doing what I enjoy doing.
The fact that it is semi-professional and the inequality in the sport and the lack of opportunity for you to become a full-time professional like the men are. Talk a little bit about that, because obviously there's sexism in darts as there is in so many women's sports.
To be fair, I play in the BDO side, and you also have another side called the PDC, which is, I don't know, in America, Barry Earn, where they are professional, most of the guys, like your Phil Taylor, Van Gerwen. They're all full-timers. And the BDO side, which I play on, is the majority of us hold a job down because, as you say, the money isn't there, so we just enjoy doing it. And for whether someone will come along and bring the ladies' game up to the men, I don't really know. But we are working hard to try to get it to that point. So at the moment, I'm hoping that when I finish, my legacy is that the ladies can do darts as a living, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes, because the sport has evolved tremendously from those early days, of course, when you started your career, where it would have been predominantly men playing in pubs, right? And there would have been a bit of a challenge for women to be recognised and accepted. What did you see as the barriers to entry when you began your career, when you actually started winning games and tournaments, Deta?
Well, that was my motivation as well, to play the men. And really, that's why I became so good, because I love playing the men, because they hate to play a woman. And it's still a stigma even now. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you beat them, they won't say to their friends, if they how did you get on today? They won't say, well, I lost to Deta Hedman. They won't admit that they lost to a woman. It's a very good lady, but it's still a stigma even now. And as I said, that's what motivated me back then, and even now, I just love to compete against the men.
Is it because you like to beat the men and prove that women are just as good and often better? Or is it also to inspire women coming into the sport as well to take on that challenge, that they don't just have to play against themselves? It seems to me a pretty equal sport.
It is to a point, but I think with the ladies, we have so much going on compared to a man. I've always said one of the things that a woman suffers with, as we all do, is the time of the month. It may sound silly, but I know from my experience, my monthly, I could get extra nervous, my head is everywhere, stomach pains, and men doesn't get that. They can play month in, month out, but once a month we suffer. And it's getting your mind So like said, I'm playing a game of darts, or you just don't want to play. But that is a factor with a lot of women. It doesn't have to be darts. It can be any sport. It's something that we all suffer with, and I think that's why the majority of the men in most of their sports are better than women. You get the exception, but the top end is always a man, to be honest.
How do you stay focused? What is that motivation to stay as focused and as sharp as you were, say, 10, 20 years ago, Deta?
Well, when I go to a tournament, I like to get there an hour early. Then I put my headphones on and just listen to a few music and get my mind in focus, ready for my first game, because you always know what time your first game is on. And that's how I get motivated. I just get their headphones on. In most tournaments, if you look around, you see so many people who does that. Have a headphone on and just get themselves ready for their game.
What keeps you focused when you're eyeing defeat, and how do you handle that?
In any sport, you lose more than you will win. So if I lose, I just congratulate the other person, take it on the chin, and I just go away and I just say to myself, you must do better next time. And that's how I am. And sometimes, yes, if we're playing, let's say, best of 7 legs and I'm 3-0 down, I just think, just keep going. Don't ever give up. And if they give you a chance, then you take it. And if you don't take that chance, then, you can't blame anybody but yourself. That's how I approach my game anyway.
You found a way with the tougher mental game as you get older, Deta?
I've always been one of those persons, okay, if I lose, it's just a bad day at the office. And I'm still the same now. I get beat and I just go away and I'll just come back again. The only time I will ever get annoyed is someone else other than my opponent around me that has done something to get in your head. Because when you play darts, you're so close to the audience, sometimes they can break your concentration, and it's such a small amount of legs you play, you haven't had the chance to get your focus back. So something like that can happen, and then I would be annoyed. But not at my opponent. I'm normally annoyed at that person where I've allowed myself for them to get into my head. But other than that, I've never been a bad loser. I just, as I say, just take it on the chin and come back stronger, better and stronger, and that's really what I do every time.
That's all you can do. But it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you about the environment, because you are so close to the audience and it's a very quiet atmosphere as well that requires immense concentration. So it's interesting that even as experienced as you are, you're as vulnerable as a player to anyone with much less experience in dealing with that atmosphere and dealing with, somebody trying to get into your head who's on the other team, so to speak. So it is something that you have to deal with every time you go and play.
When you're on stage, you're away from the audience, not that far away, but it's a lot better when you're on stage. But when you're on the floor, then it's a different matter. You have to work harder to focus. And, you just take it each day as it comes, to be honest. You're never quite sure what's going to happen. So if you encounter it and it happens, then, as I say, I will deal with it after the game.
What do you think is motivating the younger generation now? What do you see as the enthusiasm that they have to get into the game and become as successful as you are?
As I said earlier on, I play on the BDO side and you have the PDC side. And that side, they've actually put together a youth tour so that the boys and girls have to play against each other. But there's that incentive for them to learn their trade and then venture into the adult bit. There is things there now where I did not have in my early days, up to the age, I think, 25, something like that. So there is a few opportunities there, not the BDO side, but the PDC side. They call it the Youth Development Tour.
There are opportunities now to go from amateur to semi-professional ranks then that you did not have.
No, we didn't have that in our time, but they do now. So there is a lot of little bits coming in now for the youth to obviously take it to another height, if you like. So there are some young girls coming through, which are very good. There's still not that many youth players in the ladies. You do in the men, always seems to be a lot more men than there is ladies. But the ones that are coming through are really quite good.
Do you find they come to you and ask you for tips and or if they're getting into the sport? Do you see yourself as a role model in the sport for young women?
Some of the youngsters, myself and my partners, taken some of them under our wings and have them playing county with us and showing them the right way and the wrong way to play the game. Last weekend I had a competition, it's called the Scottish Open, and one of the young lady that we took under our wings, and I played pairs with her just to show her the ropes and how it should be done. And she won the tournament. She beat me in the final, played absolutely fantastic. So she's now on her way, doesn't need me anymore. So I'll just look for someone else to bring through again.
So there are coaching opportunities, but can you charge for coaching like other sports do, Deta, or is it just helping someone?
No, it's just helping someone, and if they ask you for advice, it's how they make of it in what to do. But yeah, always been asked for advice. Even the adults still do that now, in how to venture into the competition world. Because although you may play county Super League, some people doesn't play the competition side, so they will still ask, how do you get into entering this one and that one, and we just give them the advice that we have learned ourselves.
Where did the Dark Destroyer nickname come from?
Well, when I came back after being away 5 years and I qualified for the World Championship, you needed to have a name. And to be fair, actually, the boxer Nigel Benn, he had the name the Dark Destroyer. And because he doesn't fight anymore, I just thought that sounds a good name. And that's how I came across it. And that's where the Dark Destroyer come from, yes.
How many years now playing in the sport at the top level?
Oh, over 35 years.
And you mentioned there that you took a break. What was that break for, Deta?
The break I took was really a change of jobs, and in the early days when I used to play, it wasn't quite so friendly. And then one day I just decided, do you know what, I don't need all this hassle. I'll just go away and just do something else. Because if I want to be good at something, I really do get obsessed with it. And I just thought, I'll go away from the game and enjoy life, do something else. Not necessarily another sport, but enjoy other sports. Whereas when I used to play, all I did was darts, work darts, work darts. So I had 5 years out, and I just enjoyed a few other sports. And then I came back, and it's a lot better, the people's attitude, if you like. I needed to go away and find myself, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes total sense. What other sports did you do? Because I know you've got a brother, Graham, isn't it, who's a sprinter. So what did you do then when you were not playing darts?
I used to do a bit of golfing, which was with some friends. I used to go walking, like rambling, walk miles and miles. I used to do that. And I love rugby, football, all those kind of things. And I just used to just do those. Whereas when you're playing darts and you want to be good at something, everything else take a back seat. Those 5 years old, I just absolutely enjoy life and live. No hassle, no nothing.
No pressure of competition. But did you play competitively, though, in those other sports, Deta?
No, they were just fun. Just something just fun away from the game of darts. Like I finish work and just go and let your hair down. Go out, have a drink, go to the clubs, whereas when I was playing darts, every weekend I was off somewhere playing a tournament. During the week after work, I would be in a league because darts was just basically all I did, nothing else. And I just needed a break from it.
I can understand that. What would your 3 career highlights be, Deta?
Well, I've had 2 where I've won the Winmore and I actually won the Las Vegas Desert Classic. And being the first woman to have beaten a man on TV, I know that's 3, but one title I've not had, and I've lost 3 times in the final, is the World Championship. I have never won that. And obviously, I've set a record. I've won 110 ranking titles already.
Yes, I mean, it's amazing how many ranking titles you've won, and that World Championship has been really elusive to you. How much longer do you think you would play darts? As long as you can?
Yes, I keep going as long as I can until really till the body holds out. I'm getting to that age where I'll still be able to play competitions near home and county still, but the travelling that I'm doing at the moment, there will come a time where I will have to say enough is enough. So until then, it's onwards and upwards.
Every sport takes its toll on the body somewhere. The shoulders, the knees. What injuries do you see in your sport?
When you do get the shoulder, people suffers with the shoulder. They have to have an operation, and obviously it depends on how your style, how you stand. Because some people also get a really bad back if they bend too far over. And really, and there's another thing, you have the dartitis. I don't know how that come about, where you can't let the darts go. For me, touch wood, I've never had it, and I hope I never have it. But they're the main things, really, with the part of playing darts. You never know when it's going to happen.
Tell us a little bit more about that release of the dart that some people freeze.
Oh, the dartitis, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how it come about, how you get it, because sometimes it happens to players that are really not any good. Or you have someone who's really at the top of their tree and whatever triggers in their mind, and then you have the ones who's in between. So for me, I don't really know why it happens. And I've spoken to people who's had it. I mean, I know a young lad who's got it, and he doesn't know why. Because he's been playing fantastic. He's won tournaments, but he doesn't know why.
It sounds a little bit like stage fright, doesn't it?
Yes, but some of the people who gets it, you wonder why, because they've never really been there, if you know what I mean. I can understand someone who's been at the top, and then they're losing, they're not playing so well, and it's that fear of not being able to play well again. I can understand that, but when you've never really been at that height, I don't understand why they get it. It could be something within their life, or I don't know. I think it's probably something need to look into.
It's interesting. I hadn't realised that that was an occupational hazard with the game, that could happen.
Yes, it is. And, sometimes you see them trying to release the darts, and they actually fall over with it. They just can't let it go. It's unbelievable. And then sometimes, once they let that first one go, then the others follow. But it's just releasing that first dart.
That's extraordinary.
It is just unbelievable. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, tell us what your year looks like. What are important tournaments ahead, and how often will you play during the course of a year, Deta?
Well, so far I've had one weekend off so far this year, and looking at my diary, I don't think I've got any more weekends off. I think next weekend we're away to the Isle of Man, followed by over in Holland. And we're just really doing Europe. And obviously, the county game throws in next month. So, yes, I've got something going on basically every weekend. Because once you get into that ranking, it's trying to maintain your rankings as well. Because this year, there's a tournament that normally you had to go in from the beginning. But now they've invited the top 4 ladies in. So now I have to try to stay in the top 4. So that's put a little bit more pressure. So I'll just keep going.
What's on your bucket list now?
Just to win the World Championship. That is it. Because obviously in between all that, playing for England, because I obviously represent my country as well. And I'm captain of the England side at the moment as well. So there's a lot going on. So I haven't got time to worry about anything, just go out and try and play.
Finally, Deta, what would you say you most value about being involved in sport?
You meet so many new people, make so many friends, and it's such a lovely sport to play, and the people are so friendly. And also visiting different countries that I've never been to and just seeing how they all run the tournament themselves. And I just love that. I just love meeting new people all the time and just making new friends.
Well, you clearly have made friends all around the world and become a legend in the sport, Deta. I want to wish you the very best of luck with the rest of your career, and thank you for taking the time to come on the programme. Good luck this weekend in Walsall.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for inviting me. Good pleasure.
And for more conversations from the world of women's sports, including over 600 podcasts, plus articles, blogs and videos, please visit us at wispsports.com, and you can follow us on social media at wispsports. We always love to hear from you. If you have any comments, questions or suggestions, you can email us at info@wispsports.com. Until the next time, thank you for listening.